Luis Castillo takes a called strike, 0-1. The Mets second baseman in the leadoff spot. Jose Reyes not in the starting lineup, Eric, for the third consecutive game due to tightness in his right calf. The 0-1 to Castillo, missing high, 1-1.
I had a chance to talk to Jose prior to the game, and I thought he'd be in there, but he just said he wasn't feeling right. And it's not as if he's trying to duck the big unit. He's got great career numbers, hitting .450 against him.
Reyes did pinch hit last night. The curve is in for a called strike. 1-2 with Alex Cora waiting on deck, then Carlos Beltran.
There's Jose right there. Again, he expects it to be a few days, and it's already been 3.
1-2 from Johnson. And a base hit into center field off the bat of Luis Castillo. So the leadoff man is on for the Mets here in the top of the first inning. As we check out the Mets batting order, brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Castillo, followed by the shortstop Alex Cora, then the center fielder Carlos Beltran, Gary Sheffield in the cleanup spot. David Wright bats 5th, then first baseman Fernando Tatis. Bottom of the order, Ramon Castro, Ryan Church, and Johan Santana. And we should mention the Mets placed Carlos Delgado on the 15-day disabled list today, retroactive to May 11th. That move was certainly not unexpected, as Cora bunts foul back behind the screen, 0-1.
Well, again, Delgado has not played, and the Mets had hoped that he could do some rehab exercises and make himself available, but they just weren't getting any progress. And he's flying back home, going to see a doctor Monday, and they'll go from there.
Mets have recalled Angel Pagan from AAA Buffalo to fill Delgado's roster spot. Johnson keeping Castillo close. Amazingly, without Jose Reyes the last 2 nights, the Mets have stolen 11 bases. 7 on Thursday, 4 more last night. Castillo goes. The throw from Molina is high, not in time, and the Mets have their 12th stolen base of this series.
Well, you know, Benji Molina was asked about this the other night. They stole 7 bases against him. You see Castillo getting a good jump. Molina making a halfway decent throw. It wasn't great. See Castillo going. But, you know, Benji Molina replied that, look, I can't say what I want to say. Which basically, look, they're not stealing bases off the catcher. They're stealing bases off the pitcher.
Mets lead the National League with 41 steals. So Castillo in scoring position as Cora rips a base hit into right field. Holding at third is Castillo. Mets have runners on the corners against Randy Johnson with nobody out here in the top of the first inning. The Giants defensively, Ishikawa, Burris, Uribe, and Sandoval. Around the infield, Lewis in left, Rowan in center, Randy Wynn in right, and Benji Molina behind the plate. So first and third as Carlos Beltran steps in. Beltran hitting .370. Third in the National League. 7 of 19 in his career against Johnson as Cora steals second. So the Mets with 2 stolen bases in the inning, 13 in the series.
And as a catcher right now, it just, it's becoming just frustrating. I mean, probably after about number 5. But again, the throw not great, but really not being given a chance by his pitchers. And, you know, Randy Johnson never really known for having a good move at all. Didn't really have to develop one because not too many guys back in his day would get down to first base.
Beltran fouls it off to the right side, 0-2.
You know, this is the 3rd time now so far in this game where Randy Johnson has been ahead of the hitter. Luis Castillo, he had him 1-2. Alex Cora 0-2. Both those guys got hits. Now 5-6 years ago, Randy Johnson had 2 strikes on a guy and he was ahead of the count. That was it. Lights out.
No chance.
No chance at all.
Castillo, the runner on third. Cora takes his lead off second. The 0-2 from Johnson to Beltran. And he fouls it back to the screen.
Johnson, when he was dominant, he was almost violent, and I say that in a complimentary way, in that the slider was 91, 92, almost wiffle ball-like in its movement. The fastball 97, 98, and as a hitter, you just hope you'd run into one.
Just foul. Back behind third, so Castillo will head back. As we mentioned, Beltran has had great success against Johnson, a .368 average, 7 hits in 19 career at-bats. Beltran working on a 9-game hitting streak. He has a hit in every road game the Mets have played this season.
Well, he's been great on the road, close to .460 batting average. But, you know, you talk about his effectiveness against Randy Johnson. He's just been great this year. And really, he's been the most consistent performer of this Mets offense. He hasn't really struggled at any one time. He's really provided that stability they need.
Beltran sends this one to deep left field. Lewis back, and he's unable to make the catch. Castillo scores. Cora rounding third, heading home. The throw to the plate is not in time. Carlos Beltran with RBIs number 26 and 27 as the Mets take a 2-0 lead.
And again, Carlos Beltran continuing his success against Randy Johnson. This is an off-speed pitch that's out over the plate. It doesn't have the bite. It allows Beltran to get extension. Now you watch Alex Cora doing the exact right thing. He thinks Fred Lewis is going to run that ball down. So at worst, he wants to be able to tag up from second and get to third base with less than 2 outs. Lewis doesn't catch it. He's still easily able to score.
Still nobody out here in the top of the first inning. Beltran takes his lead off second with Gary Sheffield at the plate.
You know, Kenny, this is a guy that I think the Mets really were waiting on before they would put Delgado on the disabled list to start swinging the bat. And that's what the Chef has done right now. You know, he's been able to get some starts. He's been hitting the ball well. He's been hitting it hard. And he really, I'm not going to say he replaces, but he provides the presence that Delgado provides when he's in the lineup.
Sheffield with 4 hits in this series, 4 for 8, and he has scored 5 runs. Mets manager Jerry Manuel the same thoughts regarding Gary Sheffield and his importance to the Mets lineup in the absence of Carlos Delgado. When Manuel was asked about Delgado before the game, he was asked about the combination of players who are going to replace Delgado in the field, but Manuel said more important to me is how Gary Sheffield does in that cleanup spot.
Well, the one thing that Sheff provides that not a lot of the other guys provide is the intimidation factor.
And Sheffield with a base hit into right field. Holding at third is Beltran. So the Mets with 4 consecutive base hits to start this game, and what must be going through the mind of Johan Santana, who has not received any run support this season. Mets have scored a total of 14 runs in his prior 7 starts. They already lead this game 2-0. Runners on the corners, nobody out, top of the first inning.
Well, and he's got to be excited about it, but one thing he has to guard against is to feel like, wow, I finally got some runs. And sometimes as a pitcher or even as a player, you lose that edge and you become a bit complacent. He's still got to go out there and throw like it's a 0-0 ball game.
David Wright has been sizzling at the plate, and he takes a called strike. 0-1. Wright in this series, 6 for 8 with a pair of walks, 6 runs batted in, and 5 steals. You saw his career numbers against Johnson, 6 of 16. The 0-1 on the ground to the right side. And this scores a run. Safe at second is Sheffield. The Mets lead is now 3-0.
Yeah, in that situation, first baseman Ishikawa didn't really know what he wanted to do. He was indecisive, and you've got to play that out prior to the ball coming to you. In that situation, early in the game, you're looking for outs. You get that ball, you throw it down to second base, you get the return throw from first. Not really concerned about the run. Boom, it's the first inning. You let it get the third run, but you've got to get outs. Now what you've done, you've only got one out. You put a runner in scoring position, and the run scores.
25th run batted in of the season for David Wright. Fernando Tatis at the plate. Tatis 1 for 6 in this series, getting the start at first base today. Jeremy Reed started at first for Delgado last night, and the Mets also plan to use Daniel Murphy at first base. 0-1 on Tatis.
Well, that ball fouled off, and Marty Aronoff, our crack statistician here in the booth, just handed me a note that, you know, there has not been one swing and miss yet this inning. And when you think of Randy Johnson, again, you think of the power, the dominance. But to have thrown this many pitches in the first inning and not have one hitter miss, that tells you a little something about the age.
The 0-1, Tatis lifts this one into the right field corner, foul. Randy Johnson, 45 years of age, second oldest player in Major League Baseball. His former teammate in Seattle, Jamie Moyer, is 46. Moyer, with the Phillies, has 249 career victories. Johnson with 298. 0-2 on Fernando Tatis. Gary Sheffield, the runner on second. 3 runs on 4 hits for the Mets here in the top of the first inning. Johnson missing inside, 1-2.
That's a little bit of that old nastiness of Randy Johnson. Ahead in the count, 0-2, throwing that fastball in on the hitter's hand just to get him off the plate. But you saw that's 92. Used to be 97, 98.
Fastball again missing inside, 2-2.
You know, and that's the thing. You know, as you get older, any athlete, you know, you're fighting time, and you know your mind says, "Hey, I want to do this," but your body just it doesn't react the way it used to.
Johnson has certainly gone through health issues, 3 back surgeries in recent years. The 2-2, and Tatis goes down on strikes. First strikeout of the afternoon for Randy Johnson. Now 2 away here in the top of the first inning. The 7th Met to come to the plate is their catcher, Ramon Castro. Castro batting .268, 1 for 5 in this series. Nothing in 1. Schneider on the disabled list. Omir Santos started behind the plate for the Mets in last night's game. Johnson missing away, 1-1.
You mentioned Santos getting the start the other day. He's been getting quite a few starts. You see Randy Johnson on the hill. Santos and Castro going on and off, rotating.
This will be the 25th pitch of the inning from Johnson. And Castro fouls it off to the right side, 1-2.
Well, again, you know, talk about the amount of pitches, and you know, only Fernando Tatis on that slider where he struck out. It's been the only swing and miss of this inning. But But again, if you just said, hey, can I have a left-hander that throws 92, 93 and has a slider 84, 85, would you take him? You would. You'd take him in a heartbeat because there aren't many of those. But, you know, you're looking at Randy Johnson, who used to throw 97, 98 and have a slider at 91, 92.
And the Mets, as a team this season, best in the league against left-handed pitching with a batting average of 340 coming into the game today. 1-2, and Castro goes down on strikes. Second consecutive strikeout, but the Mets scored 3 runs on 4 hits for Johan Santana. But today it's the Mets who score 3 on 4 hits in the top of the first inning off Randy Johnson.
Well, they get the runs, they get out there, and you know what they're doing again? They're stealing bases.
They've stolen 13 in this series in 2 games plus 1 inning. And we've talked about the lack of run support for Santana. Well, a terrific start today for the Mets. Here's the lineup Bruce Bochy will send out. Brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Emmanuel Burris leads off, followed by Fred Lewis, who homered last night. Pablo Sandoval will hit third. Benji Molina in the cleanup spot. Then Randy Wynn. Juan Uribe, the Giants shortstop, followed by Aaron Rowan, Travis Ishikawa, and Randy Johnson, as the Giants face the 30-year-old left-hander, 2-time Cy Young Award winner Johan Santana with a record of 4-2, an earned run average of 0.78.
You look at that and you say, how could he possibly have 2 losses? But in 7 of his starts, when he was in the game, the Mets have only scored 11 runs. So offensively, they haven't supported him. But also defensively, they haven't supported him as well. He's got to be on with his changeup, and that's his pitch. I mean, he'll throw it at the beginning of the count to put guys away and getting some help. Again, he's got the help right now. He's got a 3-run lead.
The sprint pitcher profile for Johan Santana as Emmanuel Burris takes ball 1. Burris, a switch hitter, batting .448 from the right side this season, 13 of 29. He struggled from the left side. 1-1 on Burris. Burris last night was hit near his neck while in the on-deck circle as Tim Lincecum fouled off the pitch. Burris retreated to the dugout for treatment, but remained in the game. Only Barry Zito of the Giants has had worse run support than Santana this season, now 2-2 on Burris with Fred Lewis on deck.
Well, you talk about the run support. He hasn't been given the run support, but he also hasn't had the defense play well behind him either. So it's kind of been a double whammy. I mean, maybe one of the things you can overcome, but when you're not getting runs scored and you're giving up runs defensively.
Wow. Burris into left field, a base hit. Wide turnaround first, so the leadoff man is on for the Giants. here in the bottom of the first inning. Well, Johan Santana went through his pregame ritual in the Mets dugout, has a different greeting for every player and coach.
Well, it's pretty neat in the dugout, but just think of the amount of time you've had to practice. I mean, I'm sure it happens a lot on the road. Come on up to my room. You know, we'll work on our handshake. 10 minutes each guy.
I wonder what his handshake would have been with you.
You know, I wasn't. I probably wouldn't have been that cooperative. I wasn't a big handshake guy. It would have had to be real simple. Probably just a high five or an attaboy.
Well, he has spurred his teammates on this afternoon as the Mets scored 3 runs on 4 hits in the top of the first inning. Burris with 10 steals is the runner on first. 0-2 on Lewis, who hit his first home run of the season last night. His first home run in 181 at-bats.
You know, and he's a guy that had a great spring training, and the Giants were thinking, hey, maybe this is a type of guy that could hit third in our lineup, but just hasn't displayed the power that they had hoped.
Down the left field line, foul. Giants as a team have hit only 19 home runs. Tied with the A's fewest in Major League Baseball. This was Lewis taking former Giant Livan Hernandez deep last night. His first of the year. Behind in the count, 0-2 with Pablo Sandoval waiting on deck. Giants have had trouble scoring runs all season. They are 14th in the league in runs, 9th in hits, 11th in batting average. They did score 6 last night, but the Mets scored 8.
Well, you talk about the makeup of this team offensively, and you know they don't have the real power, yet they also don't have the patience where they will work pitchers and take pitches. Now, Fred Lewis, he'll see a lot of pitches, but you know the 3-4 Sandoval and Molina, they're very aggressive hitters, as is most of this Giant lineup.
Bounce to third, right to second to get the force. Lewis safe at first. One away. Here is the 22-year-old switch-hitting third baseman Pablo Sandoval, who is developing into a very nice story this season here in San Francisco. The Giants minor league player of the year last season, batting over 300, 365 average here at home. Led the Venezuelan Winter League in hitting. Barry Zito gave him the nickname Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah, after the movie, for those of you that've seen it, if you have kids, I know you've seen it. Po is the name of the panda.
0-2 on the Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah, and if you're familiar with the character in the animated movie is just this lovable panda that, you know, people don't take seriously, but can do all sorts of things. Very athletic, you know, saves everybody, and very similar to Sandoval.
Santana quickly off the mound with the toss to the first baseman Tatis for out number 2. And Sandoval was nicknamed by Zito following a game last year when Sandoval was up with the Giants late in the season and leaped over the Dodgers catcher, Danny Artois, scored a run back on September 19th. Well, not much of a leap.
Well, you see, it's not graceful, but he gets things done. And, you know, speaking to one of the Giant broadcasters, Mike Krukow, prior to the game, he was talking about Sandoval and that he was originally a left-handed thrower because there weren't so many positions for left-handed throwers. He learned to throw right-handed, but he could still throw a ball almost out of the field left-handed.
He Here's Benji Molina, who has provided just about all of the power for the Giants this season. He has 8 of the Giants' 19 home runs and has driven in a quarter of the runs the Giants have scored this year.
Well, he's provided the power. He's provided the run production. There you see Bruce Bochy and hitting coach Carney Lansford. But again, a very aggressive hitter, not going to work a count. You saw him go after the very first pitch.
And his bat goes flying, deflected off the fence in front of the photographers up into the 10th row.
See this bat, just maybe not enough stickum or pine tar, and Randy Wynn, the on-deck hitter, getting down real quick. Got to be alert. You know, now what'll happen is, you know, Benji Molina will ask for his bat back, and he'll give the fan another bat. Maybe not a gamer or one of his other bats that he's going to use, but see the fan getting an applause and being very nice. You know, as a hitter, you become very attached to the bat that you use. And, you know, you're willing to give away anything, but you need, it's almost like that blanket you had when you were 4 and 5 years old that you needed. It's that security thing.
You still use your security blanket?
I do. I've got that in the booth with me right now. Might replace it with one of those snuggles they got on those infomercials.
Nice. Here's the 0-2. Pitch in the dirt. Blocked by Castro. You mentioned Randy Wynn getting out of the way in the on-deck circle. We referred earlier this inning to Burris getting hit with a foul ball while he was waiting in the on-deck circle last night.
Yeah, you got to be alert. You know, and it's, you know, I'm surprised that more players, you know, things haven't happened to them. Even fans sitting in the front row.
Lifted into left. Sheffield shielding the sun. And the first inning finally comes to an end. Mets out to a 3-0 lead. Fox Saturday Baseball is presented by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. And sponsored by Sprint. Get more done with Nextel Direct Connect only on the Now Network. And by Pepsi Throwback, made with natural sugar for a limited time only. A beautiful beautiful Saturday afternoon here in the Bay Area. Kenny Albert with Eric Karros and Chris Rose downstairs. New York Mets with 3 runs on 4 hits in the top of the first inning against Randy Johnson. Ryan Church will lead off for the Mets here in the second. Church squares to bunt. 0-1. Church, Santana, and Castillo. The Mets again using their speed. 2 stolen bases in the first inning. They are now 13 of 14 on the base paths in this series. Off the glove of Johnson, the shortstop Uribe fires across to retire Ryan Church. Look at the left-handed pitchers with the most victories in Major League history. Warren Spahn, 363. Steve Carlton, 329. 326 for Eddie Plank. 305 for Tom Glavine. Lefty Grove, 300. And Randy Johnson at 298 following his win over the Washington Nationals on Monday night. Johnson pitching to Santana. For the first time, they had never been matched up against one another head-to-head prior to this afternoon. It's the 13th all-time meeting of pitchers who have combined for at least 7 Cy Young Awards. Johnson has won 5, Santana 2.
Well, you remember Johnson went on that stretch, too, from 99 to 2002, 4 years where he won the Cy Young Award each year. You talk about a period of dominance. He was with the Arizona Diamondbacks. I mean, just absolutely ate everybody alive with what he could do on the mound. I mean, over those years, he averaged 20 wins, averaged 350 strikeouts.
Strikes out Santana for the second out of the inning. 3rd strikeout for Randy Johnson, who attended high school east of Oakland, class of 1982. As a senior, 121 strikeouts, Eric, in 66 innings, a perfect game in his final high school start.
I don't think I would have liked to have faced him. You know, then he goes on to USC, and believe it or not, they had 2 pretty big pitchers, including himself. He and Mark McGuire both pitched at SC at the same time. Not so sure I'd like to be another kid on a college team having to face either one of those guys on the hill.
And then drafted by the Montreal Expos in 1985. Spent 10 seasons in Seattle. World Series co-most valuable player along with Curt Schilling in 2001. The 2-0 to Luis Castillo, who singled in the first inning, stole second, moved to third, and then scored on a Carlos Beltran double. 2-1, fastball in for a strike. 2-2. Randy Johnson, 22nd Major League season, made his debut back in September of '88. A win over the Pittsburgh Pirates. That was the first of 298 career wins. 23 pitchers in Major League history have reached 300. Castillo, center field, long run for Rowan. He makes the catch. A 1-2-3 second inning for Randy Johnson. Johan Santana and the New York Mets out to a 3-0 lead over the San Francisco Giants. Mets have won the first 2 games of this series. Giants have not lost any of their last 9 series they've played, winning 7, splitting 2, and we've talked about their struggles offensively, but thanks in large part to their pitching. Giants are a game over 500, second place in the National League West.
Second place, I believe 5 back in the loss column, though, right now, and chasing the Dodgers. And, you know, the reality is they've got to get some offense. They've got to get more consistency with their offense. The starting pitching has been pretty good. Brian Wilson at the end's had some struggles as of late, but he's been relatively consistent.
Randy Wynn takes a called strike from Johan Santana. 0-1. Giants started the season 2-7. But they've gone 16-10 since. The 0-1. Win went around, 0-2. Wynn, Uribe, and Rowan for the Giants. Here in the bottom of the second inning. Santana allowed 1 hit in the first as Wynn strikes out on 3 pitches. So 1 away. Eric, as you know, this season fans can use Twitter to stay connected to Fox Baseball. Followers will receive alerts to original video and columns posted at foxsports.com, backstage photos and insights from Fox's MLB announcers as we tweet throughout the week. Follow us at twitter.com/MLB on Fox. Have you been tweeting?
I have, but I'm going to have to acknowledge that this week I didn't tweet so much. A little shaky. Pick me up, Rosie.
Yeah, right. You want me to pick you up? I am tweeting right now. You know what I'm tweeting? I sent out a picture. It said this is my view in San Francisco today. And I'm right here along the third base line here next to the Giants dugout. It is the hottest day of the year here in San Francisco. And I am the moron wearing a black suit again. I can't get this stuff right, guys.
Uribe down on strikes. Second consecutive strikeout for Santana. Now, Chris, I noticed you tried to sneak a photo of Eric and I in the Mets dugout yesterday.
No, I got your big old melon on there, Albert. Don't worry.
You did, huh?
Yeah, Karros was safe. He was wearing that cool T-shirt, so I didn't want to get him in. You know, you at least look nice and professional, so I was like, there's Kenny Albert, hardest working man in television, no doubt. Oh, by the way, I just got tweeted that some major superstar just hit a walk-off homer. I'll be showing you the highlight in a little bit.
All right. We look forward to it. 2 away. Here's Aaron Rowan. Question is, did that major superstar tweet to Chris, a la Charlie Villanueva of the Milwaukee Bucks, who tweeted during halftime of an NBA game this past season?
Well, it's a craze it's really taken on. I think he got in trouble for that, though, didn't he?
His coach was not very happy. Aaron Rowan batting just .227 this season. And a base hit into left center field. A 2-out single off the bat of Aaron Rowan.
Well, only the second hit given up by Johan Santana. And, you know, what's been impressive so far at this early going is of the 5 outs recorded, he's got to 2 strikes on all of those hitters and then just put them away. And if you recall in that first inning, Randy Johnson had 2 strikes on the first 2 hitters. 1 and 2. 0-2 ended up giving up hits. They go on to score a few runs. And that's been the difference so far if you want to simplify things. Santana has put guys away. Johnson hasn't.
So here's Travis Ishikawa. The Giants' first baseman falls behind 0-1. Ishikawa was scheduled to start last night, but suffered a freak injury during batting practice, suffered a left eye contusion when he was struck by a tennis ball during a drill. We've talked about some of the other mishaps the last 2 days. Burris getting hit by a foul ball in the on-deck circle. The bat flying 10 rows up during Molina's first inning at bat today, and Ishikawa before the game yesterday suffering the eye injury during the hitting drill. Fastball missing high, 1-2.
Well, and you wonder why is he starting at first base today? Why didn't Bruce Bochy elect to go with the right-handed hitting Rich Aurelia at first base? There's Richie right there. You know, and one of the reasons Santana's most effective pitch is his changeup. And Boch felt like, look, a left-handed hitter, he takes that changeup away from Santana.
Santana strikes out the side in the second. Of the third inning in San Francisco. Mets scored 3 in the first as Alex Cora takes ball 1 from Randy Johnson on Fox Saturday Baseball, presented by Taco Bell. Cora singled to right in the first inning, stole second, came around to score the Mets' second run. Former teammate of yours with the Dodgers, starting once again for the third consecutive game for the injured Jose Reyes.
Well, and he was previously in Boston and one of the most professional players there is in the game. You know, he's the type of guy that, you know, when you try to explain what does he bring to a ball club, he brings winning baseball. Going to come prepared every day. He's going to fill that role at second, at short, and even play some first.
2-2 on Cora.
He's not going to complain. He knows what his role is, and when he does have an opportunity to come in, you know, he plays smart baseball. He's going to bunt the guy over. He's going to battle up at the plate. He's going to get the big hit. It's a big part of a championship club.
Uribe, one away. Time for a DirecTV game break. Chris Rose referred to a big home run. Let's check in with Chris, see who it was.
That'd be A-Rod, Kenny. His second of the year. He's hitting just a .154, but this one wins it. A 2-run shot off of Craig Breslow. 6-4 your final. He tweeted me between second and third. I don't know if we have that part of the highlight. Follow your favorite out-of-market team only on DirecTV. Kenny.
All right, Chris. So Alex Rodriguez in only his second home game at the new Yankee Stadium. Yankees' second consecutive walk-off victory. Melky Cabrera, the hero last night. Carlos Beltran with a 2-run double in the first inning. Rounds out to Uribe here in the third. And Randy Johnson, after allowing those 4 consecutive base hits to start the game, has now retired 8 consecutive Mets since then.
Well, he's settled down. He's thrown the ball well. But again, I go back. The first 2 hitters, Luis Castillo, 1 and 2, gives up a base hit. Then Alex Cora, next up, 0 and 2, gives up a base hit. And you never used to see that happen when Randy Johnson got ahead of a hitter. He'd put him right away.
So with 2 away, here's Gary Sheffield. You saw the marker out in front of that big baseball glove in left center. 501, also signifying the amount of career home runs that Gary Sheffield has hit. Became the 25th player to reach 500 last month. He's hit more home runs against the Giants than any other team. 34 of his 501 career home runs have come against San Francisco. 0-2, and Sheffield has his second base hit to right field in this afternoon's game.
Sheff still has those quick hands. You see Randy Johnson trying to throw a high fastball to get it by Sheff. Still gets up on top of it. That ball is out of the zone. It's a ball. You look at where Benji Molina is set up. Not many hitters can get to that ball. The higher it is, the tougher it is to get to. Sheff still has the quick hands.
Sheffield, 40 years of age. He and Randy Johnson are among the 4 active players who have played 22 Major League seasons. The others are Jamie Moyer and Tom Glavine.
And again, getting back to that hit that Sheffield just had, that was an 0-2 count. Randy Johnson ahead and unable to put him away.
2 outs, top of the 3rd inning. David Wright at the plate, an RBI ground out. His first time up, fastball missing away. 2-0.
Well, Kenny, I mean, this is a guy right here that has really turned it around. I say turned it around. He was hearing it from the fans the first month, and you're not clutch, and you're not doing this, but he's been driving in runs. 18 RBIs in his last 17 games. Getting the big 2-out hits. Really come on the batting average. I think in the last 7 games, hitting close to 500.
A huge 3-run double in last night's game.
Yeah.
2-1.
And he's really the future of this Mets ball club. David Wright. See a big unit getting one right by him. I remember a few years ago when Mike Piazza, great catcher for the Mets, still playing in New York. I went into the clubhouse. He said, "Hey, I got to introduce you to the future of the Mets."
On one hop, backhanded by Uribe. Took some time to get it out of his glove. Sheffield safe at second. So the inning will continue with runners on first and second and 2 outs.
Getting back to that story, he introduced me to David Wright. You see, Uribe just can't make the transfer. Still tries to beat Sheffield to second base, but Gary running hard, sliding in there to keep the inning alive. But David Wright, really is the future of this organization. A leader in the clubhouse, a leader on the field, plays the game the right way. Still very young.
You asked David for an autograph that day?
I did, and I wasn't so sure about Mike's judgment, but he turned out to be right.
David Wright, a 3-time All-Star. Just 26 years of age.
I was too nervous to ask, Kenny.
Did he ask you for one? Fernando Tatis struck out his first time up. I noticed you were giving Jeremy Reed some pointers last night. He asked you about playing the first base position.
Yeah, Jeremy Reed getting a start at first base for the at the time that Delgado hadn't been placed on the disabled list, and Jeremy Reed from Long Beach State had not started a game in quite a while. My advice, play close to the bag and try and catch it.
Tatis at the plate. He's the starting first baseman today. Uribe, no trouble this time. And the Giants are out of the inning. Middle of the third, 3-0 New York. Randy Johnson will lead off against Johan Santana here in the bottom of the third inning in San Francisco. Johnson a career 126 batting average as he takes a called strike. Eric, he picked up his first hit of the season on Monday night against 6'9" Daniel Cabrera. It was the tallest pitching matchup combined in Major League history. The 6'10" Johnson against the 6'9" Cabrera of the Nationals.
It's a pretty big strike zone, I'm guessing, right? Look at this. Now he's crouching.
Strikes out on 3 pitches. 4th strikeout for Santana. We spoke moments ago with Giants pitching coach Dave Righetti. We asked Dave about Johnson's rough start and his recovery since.
Yeah, he did. The first inning that caught us again off guard. First batter getting on with a 2-strike hit. Then they ran on us there. And next thing you know, you're in the middle of a game almost. So, yeah, he did. He caught his breath. He's made some nice pitches behind the count and got himself settled down.
Right. Talk about your excellent closer, Brian Wilson. Struggled a little bit the last few days. What does he need to do to be that top closer in the game? Well,
learn. You get beat up a little bit, and you have to bounce back, which he is pretty good at. So it starts with that. And location, if he's predominantly a fastball guy, but the breaking ball is what's killing him. They're just they're scratching it off the board if you're not going to use it over the plate. And that's part of the equation there. And then the other day he tried to change up at the wrong time, and BELTRAN hit it in the gap. But Brian will be fine. He's a tough kid.
Thanks, Dave. Best of luck.
All right, you guys.
Brian Wilson suffered the loss each of the last 2 nights. 1-2 count on Emmanuel Burris, who singled back in the first inning. We thank Dave Righetti for taking a couple couple of minutes between innings to chat with us. Santana quickly off the mound, fires to first for out number 2. Fox Saturday Baseball, presented by Taco Bell, is sponsored by Bud Light Lime. The drinkability of Bud Light with the refreshing taste of lime. 2 away. Here's Fred Lewis. Lewis, the only player in history, Eric, to go 4 for 4 in a game against Randy Johnson. Now his teammate. The 1-0 on the ground to the right side. Castillo with a high throw. Tatis off the bag. And Lewis reaches on the error.
Well, you see Castillo getting over there and getting in front of it, kind of loses his footing a little bit and has to throw off his back leg. Doesn't make a good, strong throw. I mean, when you've got a fast runner like Fred Lewis, you almost want to backhand that play. So you've already got your body turned so you can throw to first base with something on it. You get in front of there, you try to flip it with a runner with Fred Lewis's speed. It's not going to happen. You see him hustling down the entire way. Beats the throw.
4th error committed by Castillo this season. And Sandoval rips one down the left field line. Into the corner. Lewis rounding third. Heading home. The throw to the plate is not in time. And Sandoval is tagged out at third. But the run counts following the Castillo error. 3-1 New York. Valspar Paint. Valspar, the beauty goes on. By Gillette Fusion, Gillette's closest, most comfortable shave. And by Windows, light without walls. Well, Johan Santana has allowed another unearned run in the bottom of the 3rd inning following the throwing error committed by Castillo, which would have ended the inning. Lewis then doubled home by Sandoval, who was thrown out trying to stretch a double into a triple. So Santana has now allowed 9 runs this season, 5 unearned, only 4 earned.
Well, at least in this case, he's got a bit of a cushion.
Wow. Castro lining out to Sandoval at third. How about Sandoval's decision?
Yeah, not so sure that was what you want to be doing in that situation, and really for a number of reasons. First, as a hitter, you've got the play in front of you. I say the play in front of you, you see it in left field. Now, if that ball is in right field, then you need the help from your third base coach, but you can see what's going on. Second of all, you have to know that the top hitter on your team is hitting behind you. So he's coming up. You want to give him a chance to drive you in. With 2 outs, you never want to make the third out at third. That's Sandoval. He's an excitable kid. He's happy. He's fun. He's blah, blah, blah. But in that situation right there, just wasn't thinking. Got caught up in the moment.
2-1 now on Ryan Church. 1 out. Top of the 4th inning here in San Francisco. Mets lead the Giants 3-1. Randy Johnson going for career win number 299. Allowed 3 runs on 4 hits in the first inning. Towering pop-up, shallow center. 3 Giants converge, and the catch is made by the shortstop Uribe for out number 2 as we check in downstairs with Chris Rose. Chris?
It's a DirecTV game break. 1-2 between the Phils and the Nets. And this guy might be the best free agent signing in the offseason. Raul Ibanez, a solo shot off of Scott Olsen in the first, but he is back for more in the third with 2 on this time. Ibanez hitting .361 with 12 homers and 32 ribs. Phils win it 8-5. Don't forget to check out your favorite out-of-market team only on DirecTV.
All right, thanks, Chris. Mets with a 1.5 lead over the defending world champion Phillies in the National League East. Braves just 2 back. 0-2 on Santana, who struck out his first time up.
You see the Mets atop the division, and they've had a great month of May, going 11-3. They've really caught fire. Guys have been hitting the ball.
Santana gets the bat on it. It's a base hit into center field past the diving Uribe. And for Johan Santana, it's his first hit of the season. He's now 1 for 13, and he can now say that he has a base hit off Randy Johnson.
That's absolutely right. Now, he doesn't have to say when he got that hit off of Randy Johnson. He can tell everybody, yeah, he got a hit off of Randy Johnson. I don't know. I think he was in his prime. Maybe it was 2002 or something like that. Doesn't matter when you get him. Tell your grandkids, hey, I got it.
You had 8 of them.
I had a lot of strikeouts, too.
I don't want to mention that. Would you like to know how many?
I know how many. I don't need you to bring it up. Thank you, Kenny.
We'll keep that quiet. 8 hits, though, including 3 home runs.
Hey, keep talking, buddy. Keep telling him.
The 0-1 to Castillo. And Castillo lines out to Randy Wynn in right. Mets lead the Giants 3-1, middle of the 4th. Tim Lincecum, the reigning Cy Young Award winner of the National League, the starting pitcher for the Giants last night. Giants took a 5-1 lead in the early innings. Lincecum left in the 7th. He allowed 5 earned runs on 10 hits. Struck out 8 Mets, but the Mets would score 3 in the 7th, 2 in the 9th, and they defeated the Giants last night 8-6. Benji Molina leading off for the Giants here in the bottom of the 4th inning against Johan Santana. Molina fly to left his first time up. He has the highest career batting average of any player, any active player against Johan Santana. Coming into the game, a .440 average, 11 of 25. And Molina makes it 12 of 27.
Well, Molina gets jammed. You see Luis Castillo heading out, and he gives it a shot, but just can't quite run it down. With his back to the hitter, just over the outstretched glove of Castillo. Molina down to first. Now you take this to the inning previous where Sandoval gets thrown out at third base. If he's on second base there with 2 outs, he's running on contact. He scores. It's a 3-2 ball game.
Instead, Molina, the leadoff man here in the 4th, reaches base. Here's Randy Wynn, who struck out his first time up. Ripped off the glove of right. Molina hesitated, now heading for third. In at second standing is Wynn. And the Giants have 2 on with nobody out. Runners on second and third here in the bottom of the 4th inning. An error charged to David Wright, his 6th this season.
But Wynn just rips this ball, and it comes off of the glove of David Wright. Now, in a day game, very difficult for the infielders to pick up the ball off of the bat because of the glare, because of the fans usually sitting in the lower levels wearing the white shirts. Not as easy as the night game. That ball got on him real quick. He wasn't able to react. Giants are in a position to have a big inning.
Molina on third. Wynn takes his lead off second for Juan Uribe. Struck out his first time up. Fastball missing high and tight. Ball 1. Mets scored 3 in the top of the 1st. Santana was sailing along until Castillo committed a throwing error, which would have ended the 3rd inning. Giants scored an unearned run, and now they are threatening here in the 4th. 1-1 on Uribe. Have now committed 2 errors today. 9 errors in Johan Santana's 8 starts. As Uribe fouls it off down the left field line. Mets 26 errors on the season, 9 with Santana on the mound.
And again, you know, we talked about it. He just hasn't been able to receive the defensive support or the offensive support. But he's gone out there. He hasn't let it impact the way he pitches. He's done his job.
Fastball missing high and tight, 2-2. Santana has not allowed an earned run now in 22 1/3 innings. The 2-2, check swing. Strike 3, says the first base umpire, Brian Knight. 5th strikeout for Johan Santana.
Well, you see Uribe definitely going. Gets all the weight out on the front foot, commits a pitch out of the zone, almost as if he had made up his mind prior to the pitch that he was going to swing. You know, that pitch not really even close to anywhere in the zone. Not a very productive at-bat, obviously, because not only do you not get the runner in, but you don't move the runner from second to third.
So with 1 away, here's Aaron Rowan. A 2-out single back in the 2nd inning. Fastball missing away. Ball one. There's Molina. He led off the inning with a single into shallow center. And Wynn reaching on the error committed by David Wright. Rowan, base hit left field. Molina scores. Here comes Wynn. The throw to the plate is high. The Giants have tied the game at 3. Runs batted in, number 14 and 15 on the season for Aaron Rowan.
Well, Aaron Rowan gets a fastball down in the zone over the middle of the plate. As you mentioned, an at-bat in his previous trip to the plate, just shoots his ball to left, and Randy Wynn, with his speed, easily scores from second base.
So Santana's streak comes to an end. He had gone 22 and a third innings without allowing an earned run.
See Benji Molina excited, catching his wind right there after running all the way from third to home. Hey, it's hot out there today.
Just ask Chris Rose.
Yeah, I want to see Chris in his jacket.
Chris, could you run from third to home right now?
Chris can't hear us.
He's ignoring us. He's pretending to ignore us.
He's tweeting.
The 0-1 to Ishikawa. Fouls it off to the left side, 0-2. One ball, 2 strikes. Giants taking advantage of 2 Mets errors. One committed by Castillo in the third, and by David Wright here in the fourth. Ishikawa, center field. The catch is made by BELTRAN for out number 2. Well, next Sunday, NASCAR and Fox will be in Charlotte, North Carolina, as Casey Kane will try and defend his title against a full field of the world's best drivers. Coverage of the Coca-Cola 600 in Charlotte begins next Sunday at 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific in high definition, right here on Fox. Well, the Giants have battled back for Randy Johnson, who allowed 3 runs on 4 base hits in the first inning, aiming for career victory number 299. Johnson struck out back in the third inning. Eric, you and our viewers have witnessed history today. This is the first time that Randy Johnson ever allowed 4 hits to the first 4 batters in a game in his career.
I'll be able to tell my kids about that. I was there.
You were there. Thanks to Marty Aronoff and the folks at Stats LLC for pouring back into the box scores from the last 22 years.
Well, again, going back to that first inning, what was surprising for me, not necessarily the 4 hits, which is a neat note, but the fact that he gave up the 1-2 hit to Castilla and then the 0-2 hit to Cora.
Johnson strikes out for the second time, but the Giants come back, score 2 runs in the inning. It's a 3-3 game after 4. our Gillette Power trivia question. Which 5 members of the 500 home run club started games at shortstop in their career? There are 25 members of the 500 home run club. 5 of them have started games at shortstop. Here's Alex Cora, the Mets shortstop. He is not a member of that club.
I would have guessed him.
Cora today 1 for 2. Single, came around to score back in the first inning. And he rips this one into the right field corner. Extra bases for Alex Cora. Slides into second with a leadoff double. Well, moments ago, we chatted with the Mets skipper, Jerry Manuel. Jerry, how long do you expect to be without Carlos Delgado, and what are your plans as far as the first base position in his absence?
Well, we probably anticipate that that's going to be a very long time, to be honest with you. So in his absence, we plan to use sort of a platoon situation there with the guys that we have at this present time with Jeremy Reed, Fernando, Tatis, and also Daniel Murphy. So we'll be able to get some guys, at least some consecutive at-bats, plate appearances, and those types of things.
Jerry, talk about the emergence of Gary Sheffield and what his presence has allowed you to do by putting Delgado on the disabled list.
Well, what he has allowed us to do is to put him in that 4th slot, gives us a presence in that particular spot, just like Carlos Delgado was, and he has responded. He's been a 2-hit guy, for about 3 or 4 straight games. He's played a good defense. Move runners over. I think that was the biggest thing that happened in this game so far, was that you get your big guy and he plays the small game as well.
And your young star shortstop, Jose Reyes, when can we expect to see him back?
Well, there's a possibility that he'll be ready tomorrow, but we're not sure. It's just a little tightness in the calf, and with Jose and his legs, we want to be extra careful with that.
Okay, thanks very much, Gary.
All right, guys, take care.
Jose Reyes, who is sitting out his 3rd consecutive game, at least as far as the starting lineup. He did pinch hit last night. You saw Cora move to 3rd on a walk. And now Beltran with a base hit down the left field line. Cora scores easily. Beltran is in with a stand-up double, his 2nd run-scoring double. He has 3 RBIs today, and the Mets regain the lead.
Well, you see Randy Johnson so conscious about Met base runners and stealing, and seeing that situation right there, it appears to go home, and then he thinks maybe somebody called time. He stops. Cora goes to 3rd. Beltran up, hits that double just inside the line. Very nice job of hitting. I think for this Mets ball club, what's been interesting to watch is, earlier in the year, they get behind. It just kind of seemed like they were lethargic, and they wouldn't come back. But what's changed in this last couple of weeks, more specifically this month, they get behind, they still battle. And then not only have they battled to get back into the games, but they've come back to win games.
9 of their 20 wins have been come from behind. Came back from 4 runs down last night. 1-1 on Sheffield as we send it downstairs to Chris.
Yeah, Kenny, I talked to Gary Sheffield, and he and Randy Johnson actually entered the bigs the same year back in September 1988. Following year, Gary Sheffield gets to step into the batter's box for the first time against the 6'10" Johnson. I asked him, what does he remember? He said, well, 2 years earlier, I was facing guys in high school that looked kind of like you. Now I get a guy like Johnson who's 6'10". I had to step out of the box. You don't hear Gary Sheffield saying that he's intimidated very much in his career, but now he is 3 for 3 today, and so now he is 9 for 43 lifetime against the big unit.
Thanks, Chris. 3 hits today for Sheffield. Mets with 3 consecutive hits here in the 5th inning.
Well, again, getting back to the recent success of the Mets, why they've gone 11-3, they're starting to play like a lot of people expected at the beginning of the year. There was questions of, the fortitude, can they come back? Do they have that battle within? And they do. I mean, this is a team that still isn't hitting on all cylinders, but when they get going, I mean, they could just take off in the East.
Mets, of course, have blown division leads in September each of the last 2 years. Made a managerial change during the 2008 season, replacing Willie Randolph with Gary Manuel. And the Mets went 55-38 under Manuel. last season. First place in the National League East, and they lead this game 4-3. Runners on first and third. Nobody out with David Wright at the plate.
Well, and he's really been a staple in their recent success. David Wright been swinging the bat well, been driving in runs. I mean, really, at the end of the day, the Mets' biggest competition in the East is going to be themselves. What's going to keep them out of the postseason is going to be the inability for them to play at their level.
Johnson to right, ball one. We look at the heart of the order. Beltran, Sheffield, and Wright. Numbers 3, 4, 5 in the Mets lineup. They've gone 6 for 8 today with 4 runs batted in. 19 of 32 so far in this series.
Well, you talk about the recent success.
Wright sends this one into the gap in left center. All the way around third is Sheffield. He's coming home. A 2-run double for David Wright. And the Mets now lead 6-3.
Well, there you go again. As far as RBI contributions from David Wright, what he's done. Here he gets a ball, hits it into the alley, and that's when he's at his best, when he's going gap to gap. He doesn't worry about trying to hit home runs. Drives in 2 more runs.
So 3 runs batted in for Beltran, 3 RBIs for Wright. Randy Johnson will not win number 299 today. Mets with 3 runs on 4 hits in the inning. As Randy Johnson leaves, replaced by 31-year-old right-hander Justin Miller, making his 16th appearance of the season. David Wright takes his leadoff second. Fernando Tatis at the plate, 0 for 2 today. The Zantac relief pitcher profile for Justin Miller. Heartburn, attack it, Zantac.
We see a nice ERA. He was a starter when he first came up with Toronto. Started a few games with Florida as well. His role with the Giants, he's fit in is that long reliever, the guy that will come in as today in the 5th inning. You see Randy Johnson. And I think he's probably said it himself. They get back into the ball game, they tie the ball game, and then gives up that leadoff double to Cora, and then box him over to third. You know, and he'll be the first to tell you, look, when your team gets involved, it's the job of the pitcher to go out there, get right back in the dugout, get your guys up to the plate again. And he knows that he didn't do his job.
Allowed 4 consecutive hits to start the game for the first time in his major league career, and allowed 4 consecutive hits to start this inning, including 3 doubles. Carlos Beltran and David Wright have both driven in 3 runs for the Mets today. Mets lead the Giants 6-3. The 1-2 to Tatis, and he lifts it into center field. Rowan backpedaling, makes the catch. Wright on his way to third, and he is in.
Well, smart baseball by David Wright by tagging up in that situation. He saw Aaron Rowan sort of misjudge it and then have to go back. And the minute he sees Aaron Rowan having to go back, he knows that he can easily get to third base. In that situation, you want to get to third because you're there with less than 2 outs, a sacrifice fly, an out, whatever. You have a lot more possibilities of scoring.
So with Wright on third, 1 out, here's Ramon Castro, the Mets catcher. Infield in. Fastball missing high and tight. Ball 1.
And what David Wright did right there, that's something else that the Mets weren't doing the first month. I mean, we can talk about Randy Johnson today and some of the struggles he's had, but you got to give credit to this Mets ball club. I mean, they are playing as good a baseball as anybody in Major League Baseball. And they're playing the right way. They're moving guys over. Sure, they're making some errors here and there, but they're moving guys over offensively. They've really started to click. And they're still not at full strength. And that's the scary part about it.
Herb is in for a strike. 2-1 on Castro. In case you joined us late, Mets place Carlos Delgado on the disabled list, retroactive to May 11th. They hope to have Jose Reyes available to start tomorrow's game. 2-2 on Castro. Infield playing in, David Wright, short lead off third. 3 runs on 4 hits in the inning so far for the Mets. Castro held up, full count.
Well, if you're Castro right now, you see Ryan Church on deck, and you're looking for something up in the zone that you can drive, get to the outfield, look for something away in this situation. Think about driving the ball to right center. If you're thinking about pulling right here, you're susceptible to something away, off speed away. And as a hitter, all you need to do right now is to make contact, and there's a good chance you'll drive in a run.
The off pitch for Miller, and Castro does just that. Drives in a run, base hit, right field, Wright comes home from third. The Mets lead is now 7-3. A look at the Mets in-game box score brought to you by Hyundai. Introducing the all-new 306 horsepower rear-wheel drive Hyundai Genesis Coupe. Gary Sheffield, 3 hits. Beltran and Wright have both driven in 3 runs.
And again, you see contributions throughout the lineup. Not the reliance on 1 hitter or 2 guys.
Ryan Church with a drive, curving foul. The run batted in for Castro, his 11th of the season. All 7 runs, charged to the record of Randy Johnson.
Well, and this is a guy, Ryan Church, that really hasn't hit his stride. Athletically as talented as anybody in the game. Hit for power, can hit, can run, can throw. But just hasn't been able to find his groove yet. Again, if he can start to contribute like they hope he can. Reyes is out of the lineup right now. I mean, they could run away with things. They really could.
Despite the presence of the defending world champ?
Well, it doesn't. And I'll say it again, the biggest competition is going to be within themselves, the Mets. Their struggles the last 2 years, where you have to give credit to the Phillies for running them down. You know, the Mets were at the front of the pack, and, you know, they fell back. Guys didn't play to a certain level. They didn't, you know, whether it was pressure.
Base hit into right field for Ryan Church. Castro holding at second. Mets have 2 on. Still only 1 out. Once again, our Gillette Power trivia question. Which 5 members of the 500 home run club started games at shortstop in their career? There they are, Eric. Alex Rodriguez, Ernie Banks, Gary Sheffield, Mike Schmidt, and Mickey Mantle.
Yeah, I would not have got that last one.
So 5 of the 25 who have hit 500 career home runs. There is Gary Sheffield as a member of the Milwaukee Brewers back in 1989.
Chef. You know, again, getting back to the Mets ball club and why I think that they have the ability to run and hide. There isn't a team really in baseball that is as deep, is as balanced, you know, and especially in that National League East. I mean, you see what they can do. They can run wild. The bullpen, I believe, is the best. Offensively, when their guys are healthy, they've got the left-handed, the right-handed power. But again, it's potential. You see Jose Reyes and Carlos Beltran. I saw Carlos this morning getting out of a cab, and he was waving his hands as the cab drove away. I asked him what happened. He left his darn cell phone in the cab.
Uh-oh. Santana lays down the bunt. Morena gets the out at first. Both runners advance. So if you were watching the game here in the San Francisco area and you took a cab this morning about 10 a.m. local time and you found a cell phone, please return it to the ballpark.
Yeah. Well, better yet, don't expect any calls from Carlos today.
Runners on second and third for Castillo as the Mets bat around here in the 5th inning. Mets with 4 runs in the inning on 6 base hits. They lead the Giants 7-3. Mets today, Eric, 7 for 12 with runners in scoring position.
Well, and that's why they look so good as a ball club. You know, I saw them a few weeks ago. They weren't hitting, they weren't scoring, and they looked lethargic. But that's, again, offensively, when you're going well, you look like an energized ball club. Oh, they're going to be the world beaters. But even a few weeks ago, you know, I felt like, look, they are going to be the team to beat, just because they are so deep in so many positions, so many facets of the game. They've been there at the end the last couple of years. There's experience.
As far as the starting rotation, we know what Santana can do. Mike Pelfrey's 4-0. John Maine 3-2. Ivan Hernandez struggled early last night, but has done a nice job. Oliver Perez, the question mark so far, he's on the disabled list.
Well, he's on the disabled list. He's getting his head straight. Tim Redding will probably get the start Monday evening. But again, they expect, you know, Pelfrey to pitch at a certain level, John Maine to pitch at a certain level, you know, Oliver Perez to pitch at a certain level. You know, and some of these guys as of late have shown that, you know, they're on the right track. But again, they'll pitch a lot better when the offense is a lot better. You know, when they're scoring runs, then hey, the pitching looks a lot better. They don't have to worry about, oh, give up a run here, I can lose.
Ball 4 to Castillo, so the bases are loaded for Alex Cora. And, of course, the Mets addressed their problems in the bullpen during the offseason.
Well, they did. J.J. Putz and obviously K-Rod, Frankie Rodriguez, who's a perfect 11 saves and 11 chances. And, you know, I saw something today where Billy Wagner is targeting August as a possible time to come back. He's going to start throwing off of a mound, but is throwing the ball around 90 miles per hour. I mean, like I said, the Mets are as deep a club as there is.
Here's Cora with the bases loaded, 2 outs. And he takes the first pitch from Miller for a strike, 0-1. Castro on third. Church takes his lead off second. Castillo down at first. Cora into left center. Rowan makes the catch. Mets are retired, but they score 4 and now lead the Giants 7-3. Outside the bun. Kenny Albert, Eric Karros, Chris Rose back in San Francisco. The New York Mets have finally scored some runs for Johan Santana.
Well, you saw that they did make the 2 errors, and 2 of these runs that the Giants have today are unearned. But again, offensively, they have picked up Santana. Where he struggled this year is, look, he gets no run support and they make errors. But at least today, it's only the errors, because they are swinging the bats.
So only 1 earned run allowed by Santana over the first 4 innings. He has allowed 2 or fewer runs in his last 13 starts, dating back to last season. That streak, of course, comes to an end, but only 1 of the runs has been earned. Top of the order for the Giants, Emmanuel Burris leading off here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Mets scored 4 in the top half, and now lead the Giants 7-3. Burris 1 for 2, singled in the first, bounced back to Santana in the 3rd.
Well, and I think you're asking a lot of this Giants offense. They were already down 3 runs against Johan Santana. They come back. Now you're down 4 runs. Now, are they going to be able to come back? I mean, they haven't displayed that sort of ability up to this point in the season. You know, Bruce Bochy will tell you his guys will battle to no end, but you know, the reality is, you know, from a talent level, they just don't match up well with a lot of the clubs that are good offensively.
Giants have lost their last 3. They were 4 games over the 500 mark, now 18 and 17. As Burris flies out to Church in right. And we check in downstairs with Chris.
DirecTV game break, Kenny. Strange's 2009 debut goes to John Lackey. His first pitch of the game is behind Ian Kinsler, who hit 2 homers off the Angels last night. Second one plunks Kinsler. Bob Davidson says, "Get out of here, Lackey." 2 pitches into the season. Guy just came off the DL with a strained forearm. I guess he can ice it after 2 pitches. It is 1-1 in the second. Tempers flaring. And a DirecTV game break, Kenny.
All right, thanks very much, Chris.
Well, you know, anytime you're throwing up around the shoulder area to a hitter, you know, I'm not a big fan of that. I understand sending a message, but when you're getting up in that area, you're messing around with other things. You can hit him right in the leg or hit him in the side, but throwing behind a hitter, as a hitter, that is the worst place to throw, because if you don't know what to do, you try to back up, you back right into it.
So John Lackey, 2 pitches, and his day is done. The 1-2 from Santana to Lewis. Alex Cora, 2 out. Johan Santana came into the game with an earned run average of 0.78, the lowest ever by a Mets starter through the first 7 starts of the season.
And not only does he know how to pitch, you know, he knows how to pitch in situations. Here in this spot, his team has just scored 4 runs. You know, the last thing you want to do is give the Giants any type of momentum. And what he's done with the first 2 hitters, 2 up, 2 down, he's trying to get his ball club back in the dugout.
Ball 1 to Sandoval. Sandoval doubled his last time up, driving in the Giants' first run, but was thrown out, attempting to stretch it into a triple. Right field, long run for Ryan Church. It drops in. Second extra base hit of the day for Sandoval. This time, he holds it second.
Well, he didn't hit it great, but he hit it to the right spot. What Sandoval can do is he can put the bat on the ball with the best of them. Doesn't matter where the pitch is. You know, that's one of the things that is good about him. It's also one of the things that's bad about him, because he has a tendency to swing at a lot of pitches that aren't necessarily strikes, and swing at a lot of pitches that he thinks he can hit, but he really can't hit. But here he's out at second base. Santana trying to get out of this inning, get his team back in the shade.
Benji Molina, the base hit his last time up. We talked about his success against Santana in his career. Now 12 for 27. Molina has driven in nearly a quarter of the Giants' runs this season. He has 29 runs batted in, 5th in the National League. And he skies this one to center field. Beltran is under it, and that will do it for the Giants in the 5th. DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV. By Craftsman. There's a Craftsman in all of us. And by Kentucky Grilled Chicken. Get a 2-piece meal for just $3.99 and unthink KFC. Back in San Francisco, Kenny Albert, Eric Karros, Chris Rose. The third pitcher of the day for the Giants is 27-year-old right-hander Marquín Valdez.
Good arm, going to come right at you. Got a good live fastball, slider as well. Has a tendency to be a bit erratic. But again, if he can harness that control, he can be very effective.
All he has to do here in the 6th inning is face BELTRAN, Sheffield, and Wright, who today have gone 7 for 9 with 4 runs scored and 6 runs batted in. The number 3, 4, and 5 hitters in the Mets lineup in this series, 20 for 33, 14 runs, 13 driven in.
Well, and what's allowed those guys to be successful, especially today at the top of the lineup, Castillo's been on base twice, Cora's been on base twice. You know, any time that the middle of the lineup can come up with runners on, it forces the pitchers to have to throw strikes to these guys. These guys are good enough hitters that they'll do something with it, and that's what they've done today.
Now 3-1 on BELTRAN. And don't forget the stolen bases back in the 1st inning. Castillo and Cora showcasing their speed on the base paths. Mets have 13 steals in this series, a club record for steals over a 3-game stretch. And now BELTRAN rounds out to the shortstop, Uribe, for the first out of the inning. Well, Fox Sports is proud to support the Michael J. Fox Foundation for Parkinson's Research. The Michael J. Fox Foundation's goal is to drive the development of better treatments and a cure for Parkinson's. To learn more, please visit michaeljfox.org. One away, here's Gary Sheffield. Sheffield 3 for 3 today. Check this out, Eric. 3 for 3 for Sheffield against Randy Johnson. Coming into the game, he had been 6 for 40 against the big unit in his career.
And if you're a hitter and you don't have good numbers, you know, maybe the manager's thinking about, well, you know, we're going to rest you. You know, your argument would be, look, I'm due. I'm a good enough hit. I know I'm going to eventually get some hits. And again, Sheff swinging the bat well right now.
So he goes from 6 career hits to 9 against Randy Johnson in one afternoon. 3 singles, scored a run back in the 5th inning. Mets lead the Giants 7-3. Bounce to the right side. Here's Burris. 2 away. And again, Jerry Manuel spoke before the game and with us during the game about how important Sheffield is in that cleanup spot with Carlos Delgado on the disabled list.
Well, he really is. You don't want to put David Wright in that cleanup spot. I mean, not that he can't handle it, but you don't want to put any more pressure on him. He's in a great groove right now. He's been swinging the bat well. You want to leave him there. Gary Sheffield, maybe he's not the hitter that David Wright, but he has an intimidating presence about him, much like a Carlos Delgado. Pitchers fear those types of guys. With Delgado gone now, Sheffield fills that role, fills it well.
Manuel said he would like to leave BELTRAN and Wright in the number 3 and 5 spots in the Mets batting order. Ball 1 to Wright, who has 2 hits today. He's driven in 3 runs. The 1-0 from Valdez. And he slices this one into right field. Randy Wynn moving to his left. Makes the catch. A 1-2-3-6 for Marquín Valdez. Sandoval getting thrown out after driving in Fred Lewis, trying to stretch a double into a triple. So that took away the potential for a big inning and cut the Mets lead to 3-1. Giants did tie the game in the fourth, but the Mets with 4 in the fifth inning, leading San Francisco 7-3.
Well, again, everything clicking for this New York Met ball club offensively. They've been great defensively, a little slow, but you can make those blunders when you're scoring 7 runs a game.
Randy Wynn takes a called strike. Johan Santana, the beneficiary of those 7 runs. As we've been talking about throughout the afternoon, Mets scored only 14 runs for Santana over his first 7 starts, only 11 with Santana in the game. In both of his losses this year, he did not allow an earned run. He's allowed only 1 earned run today.
Right, and again, you just pointed out 11 runs when he's in the game. He's got 7 today.
And he strikes out Randy Wynn on 3 pitches for the second time today. Look at the highest career winning percentage by left-handed pitchers. Whitey Ford, followed by Don Gullett, and then in the 3rd spot, 68% of his games is Johan Santana. How about Babe Ruth? 671, number 5 on the list.
He turned out to do something with the bat a little bit, didn't he? Is he a decent hitter?
I think I've heard of the fellow.
That guy was a... Yeah, it's amazing. You look back at some of the things he accomplished as a pitcher.
Wow. Uribe pops it up into shallow center. Beltran makes the catch for out number 2. This Santana, you know, look back at his history. Only the 1 earned run today. But you know, you look back 4 years in the Houston organization. And then he was chosen by Florida in the Rule 5 draft. They traded him to Minnesota the same day, back in December of '99. Did not even give Santana a sniff. That was a prearranged deal. Went on to pitch 8 seasons for the Twins. Won 2 Cy Young Awards in 2004 and 2006. Could Cooperstown be a destination for Johan following his career? He's 30 years of age. He has 113 wins. When Randy Johnson was Santana's exact age, he had 68 wins.
Well, and Santana has the ability to have a long career because he's not a power guy as far as just relying on his fastball. His changeup is his out pitch. And because of the difference in the fastball, the changeup, the movement of the changeup, he's been very effective.
Rowan rips this one to deep left field. It's out of here. Home run number 3 on the season for Aaron Rowan. The Mets lead is now 7-4.
Here, this pitch is just an off-speed pitch out over the plate. Didn't have a lot of movement. The changeup usually is down in the zone or has some sort of movement. That was relatively straight out over the plate, allowed Aaron Rowan to extend his arms.
Only the 3rd home run allowed by Santana this season, and for Aaron Rowan, not only is it his 3rd hit today, his first home run in 87 at-bats. Ishikawa takes a called strike, 1-1. Second career home run for Rowan off Johan Santana. And a base hit into left center for Ishikawa. So a 2-out base runner for the Giants as Rich Aurelia will pinch hit for the pitcher, Marquin Valdez.
Well, Rich Aurelia has some pop off the bench, right-handed hitter. A lot of people remember him a few years ago here with this Giant ball club as a shortstop. 37 home runs. You see the pitch count, he's been relatively consistent today, Johan Santana. What's been most impressive for me, Marty Aronoff pointed this out just a second ago. He has had 10 0-2 counts today. 10. Wow. And that's talking about working ahead of the hitter. You know, you're putting the hitter on his heels.
Aurelia 0 for 7 as a pinch hitter. A New York native, grew up in Brooklyn, attended St. John's University, and fouls the first pitch from Santana back to the screen, 0-1.
Well, and right now as a hitter in this situation, you're looking for something up in the zone, something that you can drive to the gaps. You know Santana will throw you strikes. It's going to be around the plate. You have to hope that he gets a changeup up like he did to Aaron Rowan.
Ishikawa takes his lead off first. 2 outs. Bottom of the 6th inning. 7-4 New York. Aurelia, shallow left. Cora, the shortstop. It's off his glove. Around third, Ishikawa. The throw to the plate rolls into Castro. It's now a 7-5 ball game.
Well, this is a difficult play for the shortstop. Not only is he running away from the hitter, but then he's got to battle the sun as well. You see Cora going back and just short arms it just a bit, but as a infielder running out, you're hoping, waiting, anticipating an outfielder to call you off. The outfield is coming towards the play, has the play in front of him. Gary Sheffield unable to get there. You see Travis Ishikawa hustling around. The head first slide in honor of Pete Rose there. But now you've got a 7-5 ball game, and again, defensively, that ball ruled as a hit, but a play that can be made at the big league level.
So 3 consecutive hits for the Giants after Santana retired NYN and Uribe. And now Emmanuel Burris. Burris 1 for 3, single back in the first inning. Aurelia with a pinch hit, RBI double, big lead off second. And the first pitch to Burris, in for a called strike, 0-1. So the Giants with 2 runs in the inning on 3 base hits as they cut the Mets lead to 2. Ground ball to the right side. A diving stop by Tatis. Takes it to the bag. And the inning is over. Nice play by Fernando Tatis. But the Giants score 2. Will return in a moment. presented by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun from AT&T Park in San Francisco on a gorgeous Saturday afternoon. Kenny Albert with Eric Karros and Chris Rose. Mets now lead the Giants 7-5. And the fourth pitcher of the afternoon for San Francisco is 27-year-old left-hander Pat Mish, who was recalled by the Giants earlier this week. Tatis squares to bunt and takes strike one. Tatis made that diving stop on the ball hit by Boris to end the Giants' threat in the last half inning. And now he leads off against Mish.
Well, Mish is more of a location guy. Tries to get the hitter off balance, not going to overpower anybody. Move the ball in and out. Try and get that right-handed hitter to roll over. You know, he's had 11 starts in the big leagues, but just hasn't been real effective. They move him into the relief role where he's been a bit better.
He was recalled from AAA this past Tuesday. Had been pitching in Fresno. Made his season debut Wednesday against Washington. Entered the game in the ninth inning. Faced 6 batters, allowed 3 hits and 2 runs. (7-5) Mets. They scored 3 in the first. Added 4 runs in the 5th inning. A 1-2 grounded foul. Back behind third. Tatis 0 for 3 today. Hit a grand slam on Wednesday against the Atlanta Braves. The 7th of his career.
Yeah, I saw 2 of them firsthand. I was playing first base when he became the only player in Major League history to hit 2 grand slams in the same inning.
Did it against the Dodgers. Uribe charging. He throws out Fernando Tatis for out number 1. Next week on Fox Saturday Baseball, Interleague play is in full swing as Ryan Howard and the defending champion Phillies make their first trip to the new Yankee Stadium to take on Derek Jeter, Mariano Rivera, and the New York Yankees. Fox Saturday Baseball, presented by Taco Bell, returns next week at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific on Fox. Here's Ramon Castro. Castro singled in a run his last time up. The Phillies are spending the weekend in our nation's capital. They beat the Nationals 8-5 today. Yesterday, they took a trip to the White House. Jimmy Rollins presented our 44th president with a number 44 Phillies jersey. Charlie Manuel, of course, will manage the National League squad in the All-Star game in St. Louis on Fox. As Castro flies out to Randy Wynn in right. And Charlie has already asked Joe Torre if he would serve as one of his coaches in the All-Star game, and Torre has accepted.
Well, a nice gesture. Charlie Manuel's Phillies playing the Los Angeles Dodgers last year in the National League Championship Series, and acknowledging Joe Torre's contributions to the Dodgers last year. And then, I think picking Jerry Manuel as well. The guy that, he caught last year and passed at the end of the season to win the National League East. Here's Jerry.
Jerry and Charlie share a last name, and they've managed against one another in the same division twice. Jerry, of course, the former manager of the White Sox when Charlie was in Cleveland. Now together in the National League East. 0-2 on Ryan Church. 2 outs. Top of the 7th inning here in San Francisco. Hard grounder, Uribe. A 1-2-3 7th inning for Pat Mish. 7th inning stretch time here in San Fran. is sponsored by AT&T, your world delivered. By Miller High Life, good, honest beer at a tasty price. And by Bank of America. Show the world it's not like, it's love. Get MLB backing only from Bank of America. Sellout crowd here in San Francisco. Fourth sellout of the season, over 41,000. Mets won the first two games of this series. They will meet again tomorrow night. They lead this game 7-5. We've been chatting about the All-Star game in St. Louis. Who will be the starter for the American League? A couple of pretty good candidates.
Yeah, I think looking at it right now, though, you've got to pick Zach Greinke. I mean, you look at the 4 complete games, the ERA under 1. You know, the game he lost was a 1-0 loss, I believe, to the Angels. Joe Saunders beat him. And what a story he's been. Can't wait to see that game.
Perhaps Johan Santana will get the nod for the National League.
You look at that ERA, and it's been great this year. 1-2-1 right now.
Started the day at 0.78. Santana has allowed 3 earned runs today, 2 unearned runs. Fred Lewis leads off for the Giants here in the bottom of the 7th. First pitch from Santana. Base hit into left field. It rolls to the wall. Extra bases for Lewis. He is in with a stand-up double. His first hit today, extending his hitting streak to 5 games.
You see, Lewis gets a pitch on the outer half of the plate, and instead of trying to pull it, he goes with it, drives it to left center, gets past the outfielders, rolls to the wall, and easily Fred Lewis gets into second base. You know, now, what's important for Johan Santana is because Frankie Rodriguez has been used the last couple of days, J.J. Putz, you know, not so sure what's going to happen with him today. You know, that bullpen is relatively thin.
Bobby Parnell is up and throwing in the Mets pen as Sandoval swings at the first pitch. Right in Castro in foul territory. And the snow cone catch is made by the Mets third baseman to retire Pablo Sandoval.
See, David Wright lets out a little sigh of relief. You see a lot of white right there, but you'd be surprised how often that happens out on the field. And you know, you catch a ball, everybody goes, oh yeah, well, he caught it. But as a player, you're going, man, I can't believe it. Thank goodness I just caught that.
Wright committed an error earlier back in the 4th inning. So with 1 away, here's Benji Molina, 1 for 3 today. Lewis the runner on second. Giants just 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position today. Saw some of Molina's power numbers in recent years. He leads the Giants in both home runs with 8, runs batted in with 29. Lewis on second, 1 out, bottom of the 7th inning. Bobby Parnell in the Mets pen. You mentioned J.J. Putz. He has been unavailable the last 2 days. Underwent an MRI on his right elbow before flying out, meeting the team in San Francisco. Jerry Manuel said before the game, I hope J.J. will be available to save the game today. After K-Rod pitched the last 4 days. Molina pops it up. Castro gets rid of his mask. No play. 1 and 2.
I saw JJ in the training room this morning, and you know, I gestured to him, you know, you in, you out, whatever, you know, and he said he wasn't really sure. He gave you that, not yet, no. He hadn't gone out to throw. He was just heating up. But again, if you don't, if it's something where you're not sure, or it's much better to err on the side of caution. Again, we're in the middle of May right now. Mets are playing great baseball. But he's such an integral part of this bullpen, and the revamped bullpen. A closer that has come over here and now throwing in that 8th inning, getting the ball to Frankie Rodriguez.
1 ball, 2 strike count. Santana to Molina, off the fists. Coming on to make the catch is Tatis for out number 2. The Giants in-game box score brought to you by Hyundai. Introducing the all-new 306 horsepower rear-wheel drive Hyundai Genesis Coupe. Aaron Rowan 3 for 3 with a home run, a couple of doubles, and an RBI for Pablo Sandoval.
Well, again, he and Pablo Sandoval, the multi-hit, what isn't in there, the errors that the Mets had that allowed San Francisco to score some runs. I mean, the Mets defense has been just as important to the run scoring as the San Francisco offense.
A throwing error committed by Castillo in the 3rd, and then a shot off the glove of Wright in the 4th. Here's Randy Winn. Twice today he has struck out on 3 pitches. Reached on the right error and came around to score in the 4th. Lewis, a leadoff double here in the 7th. Sandoval fouled out. Molina popped out. The 0-1 to Randy Winn, gets the bat on it. 0-2. $41,336 on hand. Tomorrow's game is sold out. Giants will send Matt Cain to the mound. He's 3-1 against 4-0 Mike Pelfrey for the New York Mets, who have never swept a 4-game series in San Francisco.
Well, they'll have their work cut out for them facing Matt Cain tomorrow. And talking to a few of the Mets hitters yesterday during batting practice, which will be about the time the game starts, they were a bit concerned about the shadows that they'll have tomorrow as they play a game in the early evening.
As Chris Rose alluded to on the pregame, tomorrow is Tim Lincecum bobblehead night here at the ballpark. Lincecum, the Giants starter last night. Nothing in 2 on Randy Winn. Mets 7, Giants 5. Bottom of the 7th inning. Randy Johnson knocked out in the 5th. Allowed 7 runs on 11 Mets base hits. Mets 7 runs, 13 hits, 2 errors. Giants 5 runs, 10 hits, no errors. Last time Santana allowed at least 10 hits in a game, last May 22nd in Atlanta. The 0-2 to Win. Up loop over the head of Castillo. Rounding third is Lewis. He comes in to score the Giants' 6th run. 18th run batted in of the season for Randy Winn. It's now a 7-6 game.
Well, a good job of hitting by Randy Winn, letting the ball get deep on him. By doing that, you allow yourself more chance to make contact. If you're going out trying to get the ball, if they change speeds on you, sometimes you get out in front by just waiting and waiting. You can fight the fastball off to right center, and if you do get the changeup, you just drive that to right center. Very nice job right there. Randy Winn coming into the game hitting the highest with runners in scoring position for the Giants.
Giants has a team just 228 with runners in scoring position. As Uribe takes ball 1. Juan Uribe 0 for 3 today with a pair of strikeouts against Johan Santana. So the Mets have scored 7 for him, but he has allowed 6. 4 of the 6 earned runs. 2 unearned. Ball 2 to Uribe. So to this point, Santana has needed every one of those 7 runs.
Well, and another thing, Johan Santana leads off next inning. Jerry Manuel trying to get him through this inning so then he can use a pinch hitter. But if you go to take him out now, you have to implement a double switch. If not, then you have your pitcher leading off the top of the 8th.
The 2-1 to Uribe. Hard foul back behind third. Now 2-2. Wynn takes his lead off first. 2 outs, bottom of the 7th inning. And Wynn caught in a rundown. Throw to second. And he is tagged out. Giants cutting the Mets lead to 1 after 7. Inning, Angel Pagan pinch hitting for Santana. Pagan recalled today as the Mets place Carlos Delgado on the disabled list, retroactive to May 11th. First major league action for Pagan since the middle of last season. Injured his left shoulder diving into the stands for a foul ball at Dodger Stadium on May 7th last year. Underwent surgery to remove a bone spur from his elbow. Surgery took place last July. Bounces this one to the shortstop, Uribe. And the throw just beats Pagan to the bag. 1 away here in the Mets 8th.
Well, you see Johan Santana picking off Randy Wynn. Makes a good chest-high throw to Fernando Tatis, who easily makes the throw to Luis Castillo. The key for that right there is for Santana to make a good, solid throw to the first baseman, a good chest-high throw where the first baseman doesn't have to reach for it and then gather himself and make the throw. That play was made by Johan Santana.
Strike 1 to Luis Castillo. After the pinch hitter Pagan grounded out. Pagan actually underwent 2 surgeries since the injury suffered at Dodger Stadium last year. Torn left labrum. That surgery took place last July. And then the elbow surgery this March. The call today from Buffalo. Traveled west. And grounded out here in the 8th inning.
Yeah, good-sized kid, very athletic, switch hitter. You know, aside from the injuries, a lot of expectations for him, but obviously with those injuries, you know, he's been set back in his development.
To Castillo. Now 1 ball, 2 strikes. Pat Mish working his 2nd inning of relief. Randy Johnson, the Giants starter, did not make it out of the 5th. Johnson allowing all 7 Mets runs on 11 hits. No walks, 3 strikeouts. Fastball missing high. Not only did Johnson allow hits to the first 4 batters in the game for the first time in his career, Mets also had 4 consecutive hits in the 5th inning. It's the first time Randy Johnson allowed 4 consecutive hits twice in 1 game at any point in his career. Castillo into the right field corner, and a nice catch in foul territory is made by Randy Wynn. Time now for a DirecTV game break. We check in with Chris Rose.
Kenny, we showed you the A-Rod walk-off earlier. This one doesn't leave the yard, but still just as effective. Alfonso Soriano in the 9th against the former Cub LaTroy Hawkins. The 31-year-old rookie Bobby Scales scores. Cubs remain a half game back to the Brewers in the NL Central. Remember to watch your favorite out-of-market team on DirecTV. Kenny.
All right, Chris. Big win for the Cubs. Half game behind the Milwaukee Brewers in the National League Central. Cardinals in 3rd place. And the Reds only a game and a half back.
Yeah, and really that Cub ball club, you know, sitting atop the divisional, I should say a half game behind Milwaukee. They're another team that, you know, really has had to struggle with injuries, guys not playing to certain levels. Zambrano right now on the disabled list. Derek Lee playing, but the neck spasms. Ramirez out. I mean, when they are at full strength, you know, they're going to be a real force.
Well, a good race in the net. National League Central. As Alex Cora takes a called strike. Cora, 2 hits today, scored 2 runs, starting his 3rd consecutive game for Jose Reyes out with tightness in his right calf. Gary Manuel hopes to have Reyes in the starting lineup tomorrow. What have the Mets done without Jose Reyes? They've stolen 13 bases in 3 games.
Well, and you talk about what they've done offensively, too, in the last couple of games. Over 20-some-odd runs. You know, and again, this is without Jose Reyes, who is one of the most potent offensive players in all of Major League Baseball.
On 1 hop, Uribe. The last 10 Mets have been retired by the Giants' pen. Saturday Baseball is sponsored by Hulu, an evil plot to destroy the world. Enjoy. By Subway, home of the famous made-to-order $5 footlong. And by the new Hyundai Genesis. It all starts with this. The new pitcher for the Mets here in the bottom of the 8th inning is 24-year-old right-hander Bobby Parnell, facing Juan Uribe, the Giants shortstop, who is 0 for 3 today. He was at the plate when Randy Wynn was caught in a rundown to end the 7th inning. Giants also without their starting shortstop. Mets without Reyes. Giants without Edgar Renteria. As Uribe rips one foul off to the right side. Renteria out with a strained right hamstring, has not played in this series. You had a look at Parnell's numbers this season. On in relief of Santana, who went 7. Allowed 6 runs, 4 earned on 11 base hits.
Not his best outing, but still a very effective outing. And anytime you have the defense falter behind you, sure, the runs aren't earned runs, but they're still runs, and then they change the way you have to pitch. You have to throw more pitches.
Base hit into left field for Uribe. Wide turnaround first. Giants have the leadoff man on here in the 8th, trailing by just 1. The Just for Men hold leaders for the New York Mets. Just as these relievers keep their team in the game, you too can stay in the game with Just for Men hair color. Bobby Parnell, second on the list, on the mound for the Mets here in the 8th. After Johan Santana was unable to retire Aaron Rowand, now Parnell will try. Rowand just fouled down the right field line. He is 3 for 3 today, 2 singles, a home run, 3 runs batted in.
Well, Rowan having a nice day, and the Giants just hoping that he can regain some of that offensive punch that he displayed in Philadelphia 2 years ago. Especially on this ball club, they're going to need him to contribute that 18 to 20 home runs, drive in 90 runs if they expect to compete.
Nothing in 2 on Rowand. His home run today, his 3rd of the season, his first in 87 at-bats. He took Santana deep in the 6th inning. That made the score 7-4. It's now 7-6 New York. The 0-2, Parnell missing away. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, make no mistake, this ballpark is not a good place to hit. Now, when you're talking about day games and it's warm, the ball will jump out of here. But at night, this park plays very deep. So to expect Aaron Rowand to hit you 25 or 30, that's not going to happen.
The 1-2, the curve is in for a called strike 3. Parnell striking out Rowand for the first out of the inning. Time now for the Bank of America Fan Cam. Want to show the world it's not like, it's love? Get MLB banking only from Bank of America. What are you doing, Chris?
Well, I'm attempting to get a good, clean shot of Travis Ishikawa. I'm not so sure. Jeff, my man, is. Oh, I was late on that. I was late, just like me up at the plate against the fastball.
You're checking out the players on the field, right, with those lens?
Come on, man. I'm doing my work, Teros. What do you think I am? This isn't a frat party.
Chris, can you tweet from Jeff's camera?
I'm gonna work. Hold on. This one I'm gonna get. Hold on. There we go. Hit it now. Wait. Oh.
All right, nice job, Chris. Nice audio as well. 1-1 on Ishikawa. Uribe the runner on first. 1 out. Bottom of the 8th inning. Mets won the first 2 games of this series, 7-4 and 8-6. They lead today 7-6. You had a look at Nate Shearholtz in the on-deck circle, with the pitcher spot due up next. 1-2 on Ishikawa.
Well, Ishikawa's been swinging the bat better at home. Had a real tough road trip. He went 0 for 17. There were questions about whether or not he was going to have many more opportunities at first base. Bruce Bochy stuck with him, and he's had a real nice homestand up to this point.
Check swing. 2-2. Ishikawa 1 for 3 today. Seattle native, grew up watching Randy Johnson pitch for the Mariners. Randy started today's game, did not make it out of the 5th inning. Allowed all 7 Mets runs. The 2-2 fouled off to the left side. Uribe led off the inning with a single to left field. Parnell struck out Rowan. And now Ishikawa awaiting the 2-2 pitch. Full count.
But Parnell trying to overthrow, flying open with that front side. And he flies open with the front side. The arm angle will lead to throwing pitches away from a left-handed hitter.
Runner goes. Ishikawa strikes out. They'll strike him out, throw him out, double play. We head to the 9th here in San Francisco. Mets by a run. Top of the 9th here in San Francisco. Carlos Beltran leads off for the Mets against Pat Mish, who is going to be pinch hit for it by Nate Shearholz, but due to the strike him out, throw him out double play, Uribe caught stealing. Mish comes out to pitch here in the 9th. Beltran bounced to third. Long throw across by Sandoval. Beltran is safe. An infield hit, third hit of the game for Carlos Beltran.
Well, not much Sandoval can do with that on the hard infield. Takes a big hop, makes a strong throw, but Carlos Beltran, great speed, hustling all the way, beats it out.
Pepsi, the official soft drink of Major League Baseball, congratulates Carlos Beltran, today's MLB clutch performer of the game, presented by Pepsi. Beltran with 3 hits. He's driven in 3 runs. He has scored 2 runs. Learn more about the MLB Clutch Performer of the Month award at PepsiClutch.com. We talked about the number 3, 4, and 5 hitters in the Mets order. Beltran, Sheffield, and Wright. Beltran has 3 hits. Here's Sheffield, who has 3 hits today. Wright with 2 hits has driven in 3 runs. And then on the other side, the Giants have now run into the final out, Eric, in 3 innings, in the 3rd, the 7th, and the 8th. Sheffield takes high, 2-0.
Well, the 3rd inning, I'm not so sure about that base running. That's when Pablo Sandoval got caught rounding 2nd, heading into 3rd, really for no reason, was dead in the water over there. The other 2 innings, guys at first base trying to steal 2nd, trying to get a good jump, trying to be aggressive to get into scoring position. That I can understand a bit.
2-1 on Sheffield. 7th inning ended when Wynn was caught in a rundown with Uribe at the plate. And then Uribe caught stealing to end the 8th inning as Ishikawa struck out. Now 3-1 on Sheffield. Beltran led off the inning with an infield single. David Wright waiting on deck. Mets looking to add to their 7-6 lead.
Yeah, I don't like this situation right here, just because I'm Gary Sheffield. I like it. 3-1. Guy doesn't have overpowering stuff. He can sit on something right here. And with one swing of the bat, you can put 2 more runs on the board. Sheff, a disciplined hitter, but I can guarantee you this, he's going to be coming out of his shoes right here, anything close.
3 hits today, and he grounded out to 2nd against Mish in the 6th inning. Fouls this one off back towards us, just underneath the broadcast booth. So the count is now full.
Well, see, now Sheff, he's in a situation 3-2, and the pitcher, Mitch, just saw the type of swing he took. Wouldn't be surprised if I saw an off-speed pitch, maybe a changeup away.
Ball. Changeup misses high. Ball 4, so Sheffield heads to first. Beltran down to 2nd. And it looks like Bruce Bochy is going to make a double switch. Nate Shearholtz heading to right field. 3 hits, including a home run, 3 runs batted in for the Giants. Game summary brought to you by Hulu, an evil plot to destroy the world. Enjoy. Brandon Metters, the 5th Giants pitcher of the day, comes on with 2 on, nobody out. David Wright at the plate. Nate Shearholtz now playing right field. Randy Wynn has moved from right to center field, replacing Aaron Rowan. David Wright, 2 hits, 3 runs batted in. Has to duck out of the way of the first pitch from Metters, ball 1.
Yeah, Metters in there for one reason, and that's to get the strikeout. The strikeout type guy, he's got a very good arm. You saw the off speed right there, 68 miles an hour. Randy Wynn now in center. See Shearholtz in right.
Beltran the runner on second. Sheffield takes his lead off first as Metters steps off. Fourteen plate appearances today for Beltran, Sheffield, and Wright. They've reached base a combined 9 times. 1-1. Beltran and Wright have combined to drive in 6 of the 7 Mets runs. Ramon Castro with the other run batted in. Of the 9th inning in San Francisco. Mets with a 7-6 lead. A 1-1 for Metters. A swing and a miss by David Wright. 1-2.
Well, he's got David Wright 1-2, and he's shown all breaking balls right now. So David Wright hasn't even seen the fastball yet. Wouldn't be surprised if he threw something off the plate here. Something hard. He does have a good arm, and then come back with an off-speed pitch.
Fastball, Wright got a piece of it. Metters out of Mississippi State, drafted by the Diamondbacks back in 2001, spent 8 years in the Arizona organization. His first season with the Giants. The 1-2 again, Wright ducks out of the way of that pitch. 2-2.
You see the curveball coming in 67, 68 miles an hour. The sliders, the high 70s, and then the fastball. What that does is it keeps the hitter off balance. 3 different pitches, 3 very different speeds.
The 2-2, and Wright throws it into center field. Beltran holding at third. Sheffield to second. 3rd hit of the game for David Wright. And the Mets have loaded the bases here in the 9th.
Well, a good job of hitting this on the outer half of the plate. He shoots it up the middle. And you see Carlos Beltran going back to second base, which is absolutely the right thing to do. The ball is in the air. Emmanuel Burris had been playing close to second. The last thing you want to do as a base runner is be doubled up, take your team out of a very big inning by getting thrown out at second base and just having a runner on first with 2 outs.
So if the base is loaded, here is Tatis, who hit a grand slam on Wednesday. against Atlanta. Infield in. Curve is in for a called strike. Fourth inning at Citi Field on Wednesday off Buddy Carlisle's 7th career grand slam for Tatis. Eric, you mentioned earlier the 2 grand slams in 1 inning hit by Fernando against your Dodgers back in April of '99.
And to take it a step further, it was 2 in 1 inning off of the same pitcher, Chan-Ho Park, now pitching for the Phillies. I think that was the most amazing stat. Guy was still in there to give up 2 grand slams.
First player in history to hit 2 grand slams in 1 inning. The 0-1 missing high for Metters. 1-1.
Yeah, Tatis just a gamer, and what I mean by that, just comes to play every day, doesn't worry if he's in the lineup or not in the lineup. You know, was out of the game for a few years, but he can still swing it.
Tatis, right field. Schierholtz. Beltran tagging. And Beltran slides in with the Mets' 8th run. Sacrifice fly. 9th run batted in of the season for Tatis. The Mets lead is now 8-6.
Well, a great at-bat by Fernando Tatis on 2 fronts. One, not only driving the man in from third base, but also allowing Gary Sheffield on second base to tag and move to third. He is now a sacrifice fly away from scoring. So Tatis does his job by driving in the run, but also by moving Gary Sheffield to third.
Sheffield on third. Wright on at first. Ramon Castro at the plate. Castro 1 for 4 with a run batted in today. Mets have now scored 23 runs in this series. 7 on Thursday, 8 last night, 8 so far today. Doing it without Jose Reyes, without Carlos Delgado. Fastball misses high, ball 1 to Castro. The Giants bullpen had retired 10 consecutive Mets up until this 9th inning. Mets retired in order in the 6th, 7th, and 8th. After Randy Johnson allowed 7 runs. Curve is in for a strike, 1-1 on Castro.
Well, you talk about the Mets lineup not doing much for a few innings, but where they have been real productive with runners in scoring position. 8 hits today and a sacrifice fly.
Six Mets, top of the 9th inning. Runners on first and third with 1 out.
Well, Castro right now up at the plate. You see Brandon Metters doing that third to first, hoping to catch David Wright off. But Castro right now is looking for a ball up in the zone. He's got to stay away from hitting a ground ball because he's a prime candidate for a double play.
Just past the glove of the diving Burris. A base hit for Castro. Coming home to score the Mets' 9th run is Sheffield. Wright had to wait to see if Burris had a chance to make the play. Castro with his 2nd run batted in of the day. It's now 9-6 New York. Well, MLB and People Magazine are looking for individuals who have made a difference in their community. 30 everyday All-Stars will be honored at the 2009 All-Star Game. To nominate, go to peopleallstars.com. And how about the 90-year-old ball dude here on Thursday night, Victor Harwitz. He is the father-in-law, Eric, of Mets pitching coach Dan Worthen. Lives in nearby Burlingame out near the airport. Giants look to turn 2. Safe at first is Church as the pitcher Metters is off the bag.
This is tough now for the pitcher. You see Ishikawa makes a nice play. Metters running over there trying to find the bag and catch the ball at the same time. Not able to find first base. You see his right foot just beyond the bag. First base umpire Brian Knight making the right call. Now, ideally, the pitcher wants to get over there and get himself squared up with second base. But again, running over there, trying to find the bag and looking for a good, strong throw. It's an athletic move.
And now with 2 outs, Daniel Murphy pinch hitting for the pitcher Parnell. Fastball missing inside, ball 1. Mets have scored 2 runs in the inning. David Wright, the runner, on third. Ryan Church on at first. Daniel Murphy batting .279, and Jerry Manuel mentioned Murphy will certainly get his shot to play first base, along with Fernando Tatis and Jeremy Reed in the absence of Carlos Delgado. Delgado placed on the disabled list earlier today, retroactive to May 11th. It is not yet known if Carlos will need surgery on his right hip. But Jerry Manuel does not expect him back at the end of the 15 days either.
No, and they're going to miss him. I mean, you know, just his presence in the lineup, but the fact that, you know, he's played first base for a number of years and he knows all the nuances. He helps his infielders become better infielders. And with some of the struggles that this Mets ball club has had defensively, you're going to have guys that aren't familiar with the position, the footwork, and that's going to show up over the course of a season. You know, you can hide guys over there for 1 or 2, 3 games, but for a period of time, inexperience will show itself.
Two balls, 2 strikes with 2 outs, top of the 9th inning. Looking ahead, Giants have Shearholtz, Burris, and Lewis due up in the bottom of the 9th. Off the chest of the first baseman Ishikawa, takes it to the bag, and we head to the bottom of the 9th in San Francisco, 9-6 Mets.
make something happen. Sandoval early on in the game, probably want a redo on that.
All three of those plays you just saw, the third out of each respective inning. The third, the seventh, and the eighth. J.J. Putz looking to earn his first save as a New York Met. 91 saves over the last 3 seasons with the Seattle Mariners. Acquired by the Mets. They also brought in Frankie Rodriguez, so Putz is normally the 8th inning man out of the bullpen. But Rodriguez has pitched the last 4 days. Second time in the last 2 weeks that K-Rod has pitched 4 consecutive days. Jeremy Reed has come out to play left field for the Mets as well. Here in the bottom of the 9th inning, Nate Shearholtz batting for the first time today.
Well, you saw Putz getting the velocity up 95 miles an hour. You know, and that's one of the concerns the Mets have had. Putz has been around 91, 92.
On the ground to the shortstop, Cora. Goes out Shearholtz, 1 away.
And he talked about, you know, maybe it's the adrenaline. You know, he did have a cortisone shot. You know, maybe the rest here. But if he can get that 95, 96 mile an hour fastball that the American League had become accustomed to while he was with Seattle, and he puts that in the 8th inning, I mean, it becomes a 7-inning game for opponents against the Mets with Putz in the 8th and Rodriguez in the 9th.
He alluded to what you just talked about this week. Said he is still getting used to the 8th inning. Jerry Manuel, his manager, feels that due to the World Baseball Classic that his spring training regimen was thrown off. Strike 1 to Emmanuel Burris. Great job by our entire crew today here in San Francisco. Our producer, Larry Lancaster, Director Jim Lynch, Associate Director Eric Billigmeyer, Broadcast Associate Matt Saldana, our technical producer, Eric Steinberg, Technical Director, Simon Benazra. Pre-game show produced by Don Bowie. Thanks also to Janice Casaza, Jack Simmons, Jacob Ullman, and Jerry Steinberg back in Los Angeles. The senior producer of Fox Sports is Bill Brown, and the executive producers are David Hill and Ed Gorin. Marty Aronoff and Dennis D'Agostino crunching the numbers for us today. The 1-1 to Burris. Foul back to the screen, now 1-2. The Mets looking to win their 3rd in a row in this series. As we mentioned earlier, they have never swept a 4-game series in San Francisco in franchise history.
Well, and really the resurgence of this Mets ball club is revolved around their offense and what they've been able to do this month. David Wright, big hits, driving in runs. Carlos Beltran continuing his consistency. There you see David. You know, and he's the type of guy that, again, as Carlos adjusting the wristbands, David's the type of guy that, you know, he really should be the leader of this ball club, yet he has enough respect for the veteran players like a Delgado, like a Sheffield, like a Beltran, you know, to understand his place. But this is really his ball club.
On the ground to the right side, Tatis puts covering, 2 out. So the Giants down to their final out. It's Fox season finale Sunday. Don't miss all new episodes of The Simpsons, King of the Hill, Family Guy, and American Dad. The night of season finale starting at 7, 6 Central tomorrow on Fox. Viewer discretion is advised. And Eric, I know you'll be home in time tonight on Fox. Don't miss a full hour of Cops, followed by America's Most Wanted. It all starts at 8, 7 Central tonight, right here on Fox.
You better not have jinxed me, Kenny. That's all I got to say.
You'll be home. No doubt. There's Gary Sheffield. 3 hits for Sheffield today. 3 runs batted in for both Beltran and Wright. Jeremy Reed, the left fielder. Fred Lewis at the plate, 0-1. Johan Santana, the Mets starter, went 7 innings, allowed 6 runs, 4 earned on 11 hits. Randy Johnson going for career win number 299. Will not have a chance to win number 300 in Seattle against his former club next week. Curve is in for a strike, 0-2 on Lewis.
Well, and getting back to this whole Mets ball club, you know, they're on the midst, the beginning of a 10-game road trip, 4 in San Francisco, 3 in LA, 3 in Boston. You know, this was a time where they were going to have to make a statement, find out how good they are going to be this year. And they've gotten off to a great start.
The 0-2. Well, no Delgado, no Reyes in this series. No problem for the New York Mets. They've scored 24 runs in 3 games. They've stolen 13 bases, most ever by a Mets ball club over a 3-game stretch. They scored 3 runs in the first inning. First time Randy Johnson ever allowed a base hit to the first 4 batters in a game in his 22-year career. Giants came back and tied it. Mets with 4 in the 5th. Hooks with his first save as a New York Met as he strikes out Fred Lewis, and the Mets win the game by the score of 9-6.
Well, a real nice job by this Mets ball club in all facets. They ran the bases well. They hit well. You know, defensively, they had a few